Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. So, I'm going to do something a little different today. I'm going to do what I originally started kind of wanting to do my YouTube for, but I kind of come across Summer Wells case and it just grabbed me. I've been looking into things like that on my own, at home, but never out there. But the Summer Wells case, it just clutched me and wouldn't let me go. And with all the craziness and the drama, there's not a lot of news on Summer herself. It's her parents, especially her dad, making all the crazy videos and accusations and just out there, which in turn has caused so much drama that I'm just over the drama. So when there's updates, I will update you on Summer, but until then, I want to try to do what I originally wanted to do, and we will go from there and see if it's something you guys like or don't like. I want to make this for you. This something that you can enjoy, somewhere you can go and watch and listen and or whatever, and just relax, put your input in, make this, a community. So I'm gonna try this. Let me know what you think, and we're gonna get into it. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. I hope everybody's doing good. Today, we're going to look at a cold case that's been solved by Krystal Beslanowitch. Yeah, it's hard to say. So, here we go. On December 14th, Tracy Beslanowitch told her boyfriend Chris she was going to go grab some food at Circle K near Salt Lake City, Utah, but she never returned home. It was around 11 p.m. that Chris started to worry because it's not like her to not check in, come home, call, whatever. But instead of going to the police, Chris went to the neighbors and knocked on their doors. He even drove to the Circle K and back to see if he couldn't find her that way. Well, it was the following morning around 8:40 a.m., nearly 40 miles away from Salt Lake City. A rancher and the son found a nude deceased body of a young female, and the body was laying face down in the rocks, bloody and broken. So, of course, the rancher immediately called the local sheriff. Police investigators and crime scene technicians began the initial investigation at the crime scene. They collected several bloody rocks found around the body, which they thought might be the murder weapon. But not too far away from the body, police found socks that were neatly folded on a rock. But besides the socks and the bloody rocks, there was no other physical or forensic evidence that could be found near the crime scene. The victim had two distinct tattoos on her body, including a heart on her left breast. Well, she is now considered a Jane Doe because they couldn't identify her. So they sketched out the tattoos and provided it to the news media and hoped that somebody would be able to identify it and come forward. Well, Tracy's boyfriend Chris saw it on the news and immediately called the police and told the police he believed that Jane Doe might be his girlfriend. Police got the phone number to Tracy's dad, but after a short conversation with him, the police learned that Jane Doe was not Tracy, but most likely was his stepdaughter, Krystal. The father informed police that Krystal had a history of using her stepsister Tracy's identity instead of using Krystal. So Jane Doe was not only was she not Jane Doe, she was not Tracy, but she ended up being Krystal. Well, Krystal's boyfriend, Chris, rose to the top of the police suspect list. Police believed that Chris deliberately lied about her true identity, so what else is he lying about? But the lack of motive and the means to murder Krystal was just not there. Krystal was the breadwinner in the relationship, and Chris financially depended on her. Chris didn't even have a car, so how could he murder her and then drive her 45 miles away? 3 days later, police learned about a local taxi driver that was just infatuated with Krystal, Herb Fry. He would tell people if he can't have her, nobody can. So, of course, Herb became suspect number two. But there was absolutely zero forensic evidence linking Chris or Herb to the murder of Krystal. So they assigned two full-time detectives to the case in 2008. Forensic technology kept improving, and the police were brought on to help with the forensics so they can get more DNA off the rocks for the girl's body. In 2008, forensic scientists were able to swab the rocks found around Krystal. The female DNA profile matched Krystal, but there was still unknown partial DNA from a man on the rocks. The partial DNA profile did not match Krystal's boyfriend, Chris, or Herb, so the police were right back at square one. The forensic scientists decided to use the MVAC on the rocks that were found at the murder scene. They were finally able to pull a full DNA profile. Investigators ran the profile through the CODIS and got a hit: Joseph Michael Simpson. In January, the database returned a match for the DNA. Joseph Michael Simpson, 46, who served time in Utah State Prison in the 80s for murder and was now released in Sarasota County, Florida. Simpson previously lived in Clearfield, but they still needed more forensic evidence from the scene, and they were tested, providing an even stronger match for Simpson. With the help of law enforcement in Sarasota County, Bonner and other Utah detectives tracked down Simpson, who was living with his mother, and set up surveillance. On August 25th, they followed him to the smoke shop where he smoked a cigarette and tossed it aside. That's when the detectives got the DNA off of the cigarette. It was a match. So that's when they put the handcuffs on him and booked him into the Sarasota County Jail for investigation of aggravated murder. But this wouldn't be the first time facing murder charges in Utah. Simpson was arrested in August of '87 and was convicted of murder in a Farmington court a couple months later. Simpson's first arrival at the Utah State Prison was in November of 1987. He was first paroled in 1995, and in June of 1997 he received a travel permit while on parole, and he went to Nevada where he was arrested on a drug charge. He spent a short time in the jail in Nevada before they extradited him back to Utah so he could finish out his sentence. He was paroled out again September 1997, and he completed his parole in 2003. Simpson had been living in Florida for 14 years, but the court record shows Simpson was in Utah as recently as 2010 when he received a minor traffic citation. And on September 29, 2016, all these years later, a jury found him guilty of the murder of Krystal. So he finally got caught, and hopefully he never gets out again. Well, tell me what you think.